Is what we see on TV real? I'm Ellie, someone who knows nothing about law enforcement.
And I'm Steve, a former police detective.
Join me as we check out policing representation.
So the next one we're watching is from The King of Thieves, which were you in the police force in 2015?
I think 2015 was my last year in the job.
So do you remember the Hatton Garden jewel heist?
I can remember it taking place, but I can remember Hatton Garden from years ago because I was a new probationer in Camden in the late 90s, early 2000s.
So I know
What's
the
a
area
new
really, really
probationer?
well.
A brand new police officer. I think they're called student officers now because probation is sort of a value judgment. But yes, I was a newly minted police officer, and I was stationed at Holborn Police Station, and part of our walking around duties was to go down and walk around down in Hatton Garden. I'm not sure what an unarmed, walking, early 20s, naive police officer with a big pointy hat would have done if they'd come across a bunch of baddies doing a robbery. Probably run away. But
Pointy hat?
oh yeah, those big old pointy hats, big old police officer pointy hats, the custodian helmet.
Do they have those still? I
Yeah.
thought that was like a history thing.
No, they still have them. It's the most impractical piece of headwear ever because it doesn't really protect your head. It's supposed to protect your head, but as soon as you start running or climbing over anything or having a fight with anyone, it falls off. So it's completely redundant. We still have them, and this is no word of a lie. We still have them because the tourists expect to see them.
Okay, well, I don't know if there's any police officers in this clip, but I think if we watch it, and you can tell me what you would have done as a naive
Okay.
little baby police officer.
What? Don't eat any.
So somebody's drilled a big hole through a wall, and there's a couple of old school armed blaggers. He looks like a proper armed blagger. That's old school. I don't know what he's doing. He's either chuffed with himself. Also, they're in the vault, jemmying open things with a pensioner mates. Yeah, bars of gold. He's having a cup of tea.
He's a lookout.
So somebody's found a bag of drugs. That's pretty cool. And who's the kid?
I think he's a grandson that's just helping out.
Well, I used to like help my granddad out, so that was pretty good. We didn't do any robberies, and they're putting it in a wheelie bin.
So what did you think?
It seems to have been a fairly well-planned job. They had the relevant wheelie bins with them. High-vis jacket's always useful because nobody ever looks at anybody in a high-vis jacket. Wear a high-vis jacket, get away with anything. The wheelie bins were important. I don't know if they came in the wheelie bins, but that's the other thing. People in high-vis jackets wheeling wheelie bins around. All of this fits with the sort of the old people kind of thing going on there. I like the way Matey Boy had his flask of tea because, you know, you never know when you might need a cup of tea, do you? And you don't want to have to stop. And I don't know what time this was taking place, but I know that sort of my grandparents are in their 80s, and you know, by the time it gets to 11 o'clock, they've got to have, it doesn't matter what's going on, they're having a cup of tea. So maybe that was part of this. It was you don't have to stop halfway through an armed blagging to go home or to go to a cafe and have a cup of tea. So you're going to take your flask with you. So I think that was pretty true to life. I quite like that. Yeah, and the grandson, I think that was a nice touch, and be teaching your kids and teaching your grandkids.
So if you were a little police officer standing outside Hatton Garden doing your pointy hat, and you saw a load of people leaving the jewelry place with bin bags with their bins and everything, would you think anything?
No, not a bleeding clue. I wouldn't have had a clue what was going on there. I think they would have got away with that back in my day if there weren't alarms going off and stuff.
So when this actually happened, they did get away with it. So they stole over 14 million pounds in stolen jewels and money, and to this day, only 4.3 million of that has been recovered.
Fair play. I reckon it was probably it was a decent payout for them. But no, we would never have. I don't think we would have come across that. So that's the alarms were going off. A bunch of old folk carrying bin bags, wearing high vis. I mean, I would probably have put one of them on a mobility scooter. I think that would have been that's just sort of that would have completed the picture. But I reckon that it was quite reasonable that they got away with that. Not because they're particularly good at it, but because, you know, he was really going to bat an eyelid at a bunch of pensioners moving some bins around. How did they get caught then? I didn't really follow the story. Did they tell somebody? They always get caught because they told somebody. If you're going to do an armed robbery, never tell anyone.
I don't know how they got caught.
Yeah, they told somebody. That would have been it. So they always tell somebody. Just never tell anyone. That's the best way to get away with crime. If you're going to do it, just never tell anyone ever. Well, it's still back to the old The weak link being the individuals have got to deal with other individuals. Even if I'm not going to say what I've done, then the other person might be sort of saying to their friends what they've done. There might be a police informant, watching out for things going on. Quite often there's rewards involved with this kind of thing.
So would this be grand larceny, or is that just a fancy term?
That's an American term. That would be a burglary again. Most of the time, this stuff comes down to burglary. Were they trespassing? Well, I think so. They were in a building where they shouldn't have been as trespassers, and they stole stuff. It's theft. This is an old school burglary, unless they'd pointed guns at someone or given anybody a hiding, in which case it would have stepped over into the world of robbery.
Old school burglary, and then with the criminal damage as well, with the crowbarring.
Yeah, but it kind of just gets rolled into the burglary. But yeah, that would be a separate criminal damage as well.